Part 1. The Call from the Mountain. A Divine Decision. Picture. A Galilean hillside at dawn. The first light brushing the grass as Jesus kneels in prayer. The Son of God, through whom the stars were spun, spends the entire night in communion with the Father. Luke 6:12-13. Why? Because he is about to make a choice that will shape the course of history. The selection of 12 men to be his closest companions. Not scholars draped in prestige, not priests cloaked in tradition, not warriors wielding power, but fishermen, a tax collector, a zealot. Ordinary men, rough around the edges, yet chosen with divine precision. Was this a whim, or the unfolding of a plan woven into the heart of God? This was no casual decision. Jesus withdrew to a mountain, a place of intimacy with the Father, and prayed through the night. The weight of this moment hums with purpose. The number 12 is no coincidence. It echoes the 12 tribes of Israel, signaling a new chapter in God's story. Jesus is not merely assembling a team. He is forging a new covenant, a renewed people of God, not bound by law, but alive with grace. These 12 will be the foundation of a movement that will shake the world. Consider the men he chose. Peter, brash and impulsive, yet a rock in the making. Matthew, once a traitor to his people, now a testament to mercy. Simon the Zealot, burning with revolutionary fire, now redirected to a higher cause. Their differences are stark, their flaws glaring, yet Jesus sees not just who they are, but who they will become. Their call is not a reward for worthiness, but an invitation to transformation. What does this mean for us? Jesus still calls the unlikely, the imperfect, the overlooked. His voice echoes across time, inviting us to follow. Have you heard his call? Are you waiting to feel ready or worthy? Or will you step forward, trusting that the one who chose fishermen can choose you? Call to reflection. Jesus chose 12 in prayerful purpose. Are you ready to answer his call, flaws and all? Part 2. Discipleship as transformation. From fishermen to apostles. Jesus didn't call the 12 to merely trail behind him, nodding at his words. He called them to be disciples, learners, yes, but learners in the deepest sense, whose lives would be reshaped by his presence. To walk with Jesus was not to collect facts, but to be molded in character, purpose, and destiny. These men were not chosen for their holiness. They became holy through their intimacy with the Holy One. Think of James and John, the sons of thunder, whose ambition once led them to seek glory, Mark 10:35-37. Yet under Jesus' patient guidance, John became the apostle of love, penning words that pulse with divine affection. Or Peter, whose bold declarations crumbled into denial, only to be restored as a shepherd of God's flock. These were not men of polished virtue, but of raw potential, transformed by the one who walked beside them. Jesus invited them into his life. He shared meals, explained parables in quiet moments, and entrusted them with his power, sending them to heal and proclaim. Mark 3:14-15. He didn't lecture from a distance. He lived among them, his laughter and tears mingling with theirs. Even their failures, Judas's betrayal, Peter's denial, Thomas's doubt were not the end. Jesus' grace turned their stumbles into stories of redemption. This is the heart of discipleship, not perfection, but proximity to Jesus. To be his disciple is to draw near, to let his words and love reshape our hearts. Are we close enough to him to be changed? Or do we follow at a safe distance, clutching our fears, afraid of what transformation might demand? Jesus calls us, as he called the 12, to a life where his presence makes all things new. Call to reflection. Discipleship is transformation through intimacy with Jesus. Are you drawing near enough to let him change you? Part 3. The mission beyond the man. Building the church. Why did Jesus pour his life into 12 men, knowing his time on earth was fleeting? Because he was not building a moment. He was birthing a movement. The 12 were not just companions, but apostles, sent ones, tasked with carrying the gospel to the ends of the earth. As Ephesians 2:20 declares, they became the foundation of the church, with Christ as the cornerstone. Jesus knew the cross loomed, yet his vision stretched far beyond his earthly ministry. At Pentecost, these same men, once timid and faltering, preached with fire, healed the sick, and faced persecution with courage. Most gave their lives for the truth of the resurrection. Their witness was not in their perfection, but in their transformation, proof that the Jesus they followed was alive. Consider the audacity of this plan. Jesus entrusted the greatest story ever told to a handful of ordinary men. He didn't need them. He chose them. He poured his teaching, his love, his spirit into them, not for their sake alone, but for the world's. Through their faithfulness, the gospel spread like wildfire, from Jerusalem's streets to the farthest corners of the earth. This mission continues in us. Jesus' choice of 12 was a blueprint for the church, a community of transformed lives, carrying his light into the darkness. What legacy are we building? Are we, like the apostles, preparing others to know and follow Jesus? The world still hungers for the hope they carried. Will we be faithful to the mission? Call to reflection. Jesus chose 12 to build his church. How are you carrying his mission forward in your life? Part 4. The Inner Circle and the Invitation to All. At first glance, the 12 seem like an elite circle, hand-picked for a singular role. But look closer. Their story is an open door, a testament that Jesus' call is for everyone. These men, fishermen, sinners, doubters, show us that God's invitation transcends status, education, or past failures. The 12 were not chosen because they were extraordinary. They became extraordinary because they said yes to Jesus. Their unique role as apostles laid the church's foundation, but the pattern of discipleship extends to every heart. Jesus still calls us to walk with him, to learn from him, to be transformed by him. In Matthew 28:19, he commissions his disciples to make disciples of all nations, a chain of grace that links us to those first 12. Their story is not a closed chapter, but a living invitation. You and I are part of it. Pause and consider, why did Jesus choose 12? To show us that he chooses us, every one of us. He sees beyond our flaws to the potential he will unleash through his Spirit. The question is not just why them, but why not you? Will you let him choose you today? Will you walk with him, let him transform you, and join the mission to share his love? In the eyes of Christ, every heart is a potential apostle. The world still needs witnesses who have tasted his grace and can say, "Come, follow Jesus. He changes everything. Step into his call." The story of the 12 is now your story. Call to reflection. Jesus chose 12 to show he chooses you. Will you say yes to his call and become his witness today?